Motivation can feel powerful when it arrives, making difficult goals suddenly seem easy and filling the future with excitement. But motivation is temporary, and learning to continue without it is one of the most important steps toward real personal growth. There will be mornings when you wake up inspired and ready to change everything. Yet there will also be days when the same goal feels boring, difficult, or far away. That does not mean you have lost your ability or that your dream is no longer important. It simply means your emotions have changed, and emotions naturally change. The mistake is believing that you must feel motivated before you can take action. In reality, action can come first. You can begin while feeling uncertain, tired, or uninterested, and the feeling of motivation may return later. This is where discipline becomes more powerful than temporary excitement. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to work every second or becoming a completely different person overnight. It is about creating small promises that you can keep even when nobody is watching. Imagine building a bridge one stone at a time. One stone may look insignificant, but repeated consistently, those stones eventually connect two distant places. Your daily actions work the same way. Reading a few pages, practicing a skill, exercising, saving money, learning a language, or completing one important task may not transform your life immediately, but repeated actions can gradually change your direction. The world often celebrates visible results, but most meaningful growth happens privately before anyone can see it. A tree develops its roots underground before people notice its height. In the same way, your character develops through quiet decisions long before your achievements become visible. This is why you should stop measuring yourself only by immediate results. Ask yourself whether you are becoming more consistent, more patient, more focused, and more trustworthy to yourself. The question is not, why am I not successful yet? A better question is, what am I practicing today? Every repeated action is teaching your mind something about who you are. When you return to your work after wanting to quit, you teach yourself persistence. When you close a distraction and focus, you teach yourself control. When you make a mistake and begin again, you teach yourself resilience. These lessons may seem small, but they gradually become part of your identity. You do not need perfect conditions to build discipline. In fact, waiting for perfect conditions can become another form of procrastination. There will always be responsibilities, distractions, uncertainty, and difficult days. The goal is not to eliminate every obstacle before starting. The goal is to learn how to continue despite ordinary obstacles. Sometimes the hardest part is only the first few seconds when your mind creates an excuse. You tell yourself you will begin later, after you feel better, after you have more time, or after everything becomes easier. But later can become another day, another week, and eventually another year. Instead, make the next action small enough that you can begin without negotiating with yourself. Open the book. Write one paragraph. Put on your shoes. Make the call. Study for 10 minutes. Small beginnings reduce the emotional weight of a large goal. Once you start moving, the task often becomes easier than your mind predicted. Discipline does not remove discomfort, but it teaches you that discomfort does not have to control your choices. And that is where real change begins. There will be days when discipline feels especially difficult because your mind will search for comfort instead of progress. You may feel tired, distracted, frustrated, or disappointed by how slowly things are moving. On those days, it is easy to believe that one bad day means you are failing, but a difficult day is only a moment, not a definition of your life. The important question is not whether you ever lose focus. It is whether you return after losing it. Many people turn a temporary mistake into a permanent identity by saying, "This is just who I am." They miss a workout and decide they are undisciplined. They waste an afternoon and decide they can never focus. They fail at something and decide they are not capable. But one action does not have to become your identity. You can make a poor choice and still make a better choice afterward. You can fall behind and still begin again. You can fail and still learn something valuable from the experience. Instead of using shame as a reason to stop, use responsibility as a reason to continue. Shame says, "Something is wrong with me." Responsibility says, "What can I do next?" That small difference can completely change the way you respond to setbacks. When you stop attacking yourself, you have more energy available for improvement. You can examine what went wrong without becoming trapped inside it. Maybe your environment made distraction too easy. Maybe you were trying to accomplish too much at once. Maybe you were exhausted and needed proper rest. Maybe your plan was unrealistic. Whatever the reason, you can make an adjustment and continue. Discipline does not mean repeating the same method forever. It means remaining committed to the direction while being willing to change the approach. Your environment also matters more than you may realize. If your phone is beside you every time you work, distraction becomes easier. If everything you need is prepared beforehand, beginning becomes easier. If your workspace is organized, your mind may have fewer reasons to wander. You do not have to depend entirely on willpower. Make the better choice easier to reach and the distracting choice slightly harder to reach. Put the phone away. Prepare your clothes the night before. Keep your notebook open. Decide when you will begin. Small environmental changes can reduce the number of decisions you have to fight through each day. Your physical condition matters too. When you are exhausted, hungry, overstimulated, or constantly stressed, ordinary problems can feel much larger. Sometimes what appears to be a motivation problem is actually a recovery problem. Sleep enough. Move your body. Take breaks, drink water. Give your mind quiet moments. Discipline should not become another excuse to destroy your health. The goal is sustainable progress, not endless pressure. You should also pay attention to the people around you. Some environments encourage growth, while others constantly pull you toward old habits. You do not need to reject everyone who thinks differently from you, but you should notice how certain relationships affect your choices. If someone consistently makes you doubt yourself, distracts you from your priorities, or encourages behavior you are trying to leave behind, create healthier boundaries. At the same time, appreciate the people who remind you of your potential and support your efforts without demanding perfection. Growth becomes easier when your surroundings support the direction you are choosing. Eventually, discipline becomes less about forcing yourself and more about becoming someone you can trust. You start doing what you promised yourself, even when the excitement is gone. You begin to understand that consistency is not created by perfect days. It is created by returning again and again. The goal is not to become unstoppable. It is to become someone who knows how to restart. The real power of discipline appears when you stop expecting every day to feel exciting and begin accepting that meaningful progress is often ordinary. Some days will bring visible results, while others will seem completely uneventful, but both kinds of days can move you forward. The important thing is to keep showing up. You do not need to feel powerful every morning. You only need to make one choice that agrees with the person you want to become. Ask yourself, what would the wiser version of me do next? The answer may not be dramatic. Perhaps it is studying instead of scrolling, resting instead of quitting, apologizing instead of defending yourself, saving instead of spending, or beginning instead of waiting. These small decisions create self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you collect evidence that you can depend on yourself. Over time, that evidence becomes confidence. Real confidence is not always a loud feeling. Sometimes it is simply knowing that when something becomes difficult, you will try again. You will not always make the right choice, and you will not always remain disciplined. There will be moments when the old pattern wins. That is normal. The difference is what you do afterward. Do not turn one mistake into a week of mistakes. Do not let one disappointing result convince you that your entire effort was pointless. Return quickly. The faster you return, the less power the setback has over you. This is why progress should be measured not only by how far you move forward, but also by how quickly you recover when you move backward. There is another important part of this journey, learning to continue when nobody gives you recognition. It is easy to work hard when someone is watching, encouraging you, or praising your results. The deeper test comes when you are alone and there is no immediate reward. Those private moments are where character is built. When you choose the better action without applause, you are proving that your commitment is connected to your values rather than other people's opinions. You are becoming the person who does the right thing because it matters, not because someone is watching. This kind of discipline eventually changes the way you see yourself. You stop saying, "I am trying to become disciplined," and begin thinking, "I am someone who follows through." You stop waiting for motivation to rescue you because you understand that motivation is a visitor, while discipline can become a habit. You still enjoy inspiration when it arrives, but you no longer depend on it. You can work when the mood is ordinary. You can continue when the excitement disappears. You can restart after failure. That is a powerful form of freedom because your future is no longer controlled entirely by how you feel today. So choose one small promise and keep it. Do not create a huge list that becomes impossible to maintain. Choose one action that matters and repeat it until it becomes familiar. Prepare your environment, protect your energy, Remove unnecessary distractions and give yourself enough time to grow. Remember that the person you want to become is not created by one extraordinary decision. That person is built through hundreds of quiet choices that nobody else may notice. Every time you choose patience over impulse, effort over avoidance, and consistency over temporary excitement, you are placing another stone on the bridge between your present life and your future life. One day, you may look back and realize that the biggest change did not happen when you felt the most motivated. It happened during the ordinary days when you continued anyway. That is the real lesson. Motivation can start the journey, but discipline keeps you moving. You do not need to conquer everything today. You only need to take the next honest step, repeat it tomorrow, and return whenever you fall away. Keep your promises small, your direction clear, and your effort steady. Let motivation inspire you when it appears, but never allow its absence to decide your future. Your life changes quietly through the choices you repeat, especially the choices you make when nobody is watching.